Hi YouTube and the Frank Ocean subreddit. I just post this. Let me go back to it. I posted this picture that I edited in Photoshop of the Boys Don't Cry magazine where I put the beat bugs and I changed the text up here and a bunch of people were asking how I did that. So I'm going to show you. So here I have the original photo right here. This is my magazine. And we're going to replicate this text. So first, let's do sub for subscribe to our channel, Cowardly Heroic. We do comedy mostly. We are going to have a lot more content in the future, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. And if you're a Frank Ocean fan, check out our last video at the end. We put the song Self Control as our outro. So please check that out. Anyways, sorry to self promote, but let's get back to this. So we're going to grab with the eyedropper this background right here, and then we're going to use the brush to basically brush away the letters we don't need. So if we're going to do sub, we're just going to, whoops, we need the opacity at full percent, and we're just going to use the S. So we're going to delete everything that's not needed, and this is obviously going to look sloppy. I'm just trying to do a quick tutorial. You can do better on your own, but I don't want this to be a super long video. So basically we get rid of all of this, and then we're going to bring the S, and then if you click Command on Mac or Control on Windows, it'll cut this and bring it here into the center, and then we drag it over, and then we're going to want to cover this back up, so just like that, and then we're going to need a U. So we're going to use Arial Black, works best. I don't know if that's the exact font, but it seems to work pretty good. And then like a really large font size to match up to this, and we'll get it more specifically later. And then what we're going to want to do to get the color right is we're going to, again, eyedrop, and then we're going to just eyedrop this because it's not quite black, so we're going to want to get the exact color. And then we just position it here, and then we want to make another one with a B, like this. And it doesn't really necessarily matter how they're placed right now. Now let's start with the U. The U, we're going to want to add, we're going to rasterize the layer like this. We're going to double click here and add a bevel, but not too much of a bevel. Let's say 70% and size 2 pixels. Let's try 3. All right, so that kind of matches up, but it's got these sharp edges, unlike this one, mostly because the picture is blurry, but we want to make sure that it blends pretty well. So we're going to get the blur tool, and we're going to put it about 80%, and then just roughen the edges right like this. Okay, now to add the effect like this, we are going to go to Filter, Liquify, and it brings this up. You're going to want to zoom in on the letter. You're going to want to make sure that you're in the forward warp tool, and you can use the brackets on the keyboard to make your cursor smaller. And we're just going to want to, let's say, add like a thing like this, just kind of to distort it. Let's make it bigger here. We can add a distortion kind of like that, and then click OK and see how it looks. So that doesn't look too bad. Now what we're going to do is we're going to Command or Control click on the layer image right here so that it selects the whole thing, and we're going to eyedrop these colors. So if you zoom in here and get the brush tool, now we don't want a full opacity, and we probably don't want it to be a very hard brush, so I'd lower the opacity and the hardness down, and then we just kind of brush the edges like this until it looks decent. And of course, I'm not trying to be perfect here, but that doesn't look too bad. And then let's do like a orangish yellow color. So let's grab this, and then we'll brush it over here, something like that. And then Command D to deselect, and it looks something like that. Now if we Command T to transform it, zoom out so you can see well, and then line it up, and then resize it to the size that you want. You can even distort it sideways or up and down to make it look even more like the actual font. So something like that. And then now let's go on to the B. We take the layer, we add the bevel, 70%, size 3, blur tool. Oh, forgot to rasterize it. My bad. Go here. There we go. And then do in the middle here too. Alright, and now we do the same thing. Liquify. And you can pick wherever you want the distortion to be. And you can change it so that it doesn't look like it's the same every time, just like it is on the magazine cover. Alright, so let's do like that, and then maybe like a thing here. Something like that. That doesn't look too bad. And then again, we're going to paint. As you can see, I already have this color here, so we can use that. So command click on here, and then we'll add just a little bit of it here. And then we can add the blue. We can just take it from this image pretty much, and then paint onto the blue. And there's a lot more colors on the actual one, so you can sample it differently. Another technique that you can do is you can add like a new layer and create like a box here, and then fill it with a color similar to the orangish yellow over here. Resize it. And then bring it below the B and something like that. And then it kind of gives the like the scanned, the messed up scanned look that the font has. And then again, and then you can click on both of them, shift click, and then Command E to put them together, and then Command T, bring them back together, and resize it so that it looks right. And then bam, you have whatever text you want. You can put as many letters you want. I just tried to keep it simple. And subscribe to Cowardly Heroic. You'll be very happy that you did. We have a lot more content coming out in the near future, so stay with us.